your roof. It's the most important protection against nature for your home or your business. That's why I trust the experts at Exterior Home Solutions.
Exterior Home Solutions 2-minute drill on this Sunday. Got to hear from both head coaches as the hay's in the barn. Tennessee and Iowa will kick it off tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Brent. And, both coaches are ready to play, but this press conference turned into more of a kind of state of college football, which is what a lot of these head coach press conferences have been this bowl season.
Well, I mean, nobody was going to ask anybody a strategy question between the two coaches because nobody was going to offer anything at that point, right? So it does become about the state of college football, and there's real concern, not just here, but I think across the board in college football when you talk to coaches. I think the biggest thing is nobody has an answer, but everybody knows an answer needs to be found. When you talk about the calendar, you're talking about tampering, you're talking about everything going on in the world of college football that is a concern. Both coaches ask about it. Both coaches express concern, one a little more bluntly than the other.
Yeah, I asked both head coaches about tampering, how much they've encountered it, how much of a problem they think it is. And I think that everybody knows it's a problem, but I just wanted to kind of get them to talk about it. And Josh Heupel, a younger head coach, talks around things more. I mean, he gave his opinion, but it was more of a, soft answer. Kirk Ferentz, nah. Called the people around kids giving advice predators. Some of the people. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. That's pretty blunt. But again, a guy who's comfortable if his last game is tomorrow and if he coaches another 5 years, great, right? I mean, when you got to that point, you're just coaching because you love it, then you can be a little more blunt.
Yeah, and obviously he's feels like he's earned the right, has earned the right to say his opinion, and there's no major repercussions for that. Whereas in the most aggressive conference in college football, everything you say is picked apart.
Yeah, it is.
And so that's something Josh Heupel is very mindful of, and I think that's why you see Josh Heupel being very cautious with his words, very careful with his words, not just in this press conference, but in most press conferences that he's asked a big picture question. He's not real comfortable addressing those because I think he knows everything gets picked apart in terms of what word is said or how it is said. But the biggest takeaway is whether you've been coaching 30 years or you've been a head coach 10 years or 2 years or whatever, everybody in college football acknowledges there's some real problems with the game. And one of the biggest problems is just managing the month of December, which is pretty chaotic and only going to get worse.
Correct. I mean, you look at a year from now, the week that Jermod McCoy visited, Chris Brazel visited, would be those teams preparing for the first round of the playoffs. If Tennessee's in the playoffs a year from now, how does Josh Heupel balance all that, or any coach for that matter? And that's a real problem because, as you kind of said, before, when we were talking off camera, like free agency doesn't go on in the NFL right now as we hit the cusp of the playoffs.
Yeah, the wild card weekend is not free agency weekend in the NFL, but it basically is going to be that in college football next year. And the problem that you have in college football is you can't move the transfer portal window. You can't do it. Everybody starts school in January. So you really can't make that window any different in terms of the calendar year. Basketball has its own set of issues in terms of the draft, right? And guys make a decision. You're not sure what your roster looks like. But the transfer portal recruitment in college basketball takes place when the season is over.
Yeah.
You're talking about taking visits and guys coming in. Hey, we're getting ready to play Michigan in the first round of the playoffs. And by the way, I need to host 4 transfers this week who are going to make 5 visits in 4 days. That's the world we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wild, wild time. A lot of fresh faces, for a lot of teams. Tennessee, no different. And Josh Heupel said that, this real opportunity, basically backs up what Tim Banks had to say earlier in the week.
Yeah, when you look at this game and you get away from the whole talk of a need of a commissioner and all those things, you start looking at this game and this matchup. You got a veteran team in Iowa who's got a ton of experience. You got a Tennessee team who's got good experience, but they're sprinkling in with youth. How does that youth play in the secondary? How does Cam Seldon play in a physical game against a physical defense? And then obviously Tennessee with Nico. This is a great opportunity for those guys, but there'll be some challenges for them as well. Should be an intriguing matchup tomorrow.
It is a matchup that everybody is excited to see, especially if you're a Tennessee fan. Nico Iamaleava getting his first start of his young career. He is Brent Hubbs. I'm Austin Price for the Exterior Home Solutions 2-minute drill.